Hey guys, Kakarot197 again, this time with a review of the Wing Gundam Girl. So I guess Bandai finally decided that there is money to be made with Gundam Girls. So I guess in a way you could call this the spiritual successor of the Armored Lady line. This time, however, as action figures rather than model kits. So let's start with having a little look at the box. As you can see, it's a mobile suit girl from the Wing Gundam, obviously from Gundam Wing. And if you look at the back, you can see that her name is Yukina, or Schneelein in German. Also, some of the original line art, and probably one of the most important things, and this here shows that you can use the wings from the Wing Zero Custom from the Robot Damashi line. So that you can make a Wing Zero custom girl rather than just the Wing Zero, Wing Gundam Ka. So onto articulation, and the head goes up, down, and will of course turn around all the way. But the neck has kind of like a weird thing in the back, and if you move it around too much, the neck will go a bit weird. So gotta be a bit careful with the neck. And as you can see, there's also a weird connection. It doesn't go in straight, but it connects to the back of the hair. So with this neck, it's kind of like weird. So gotta be careful that this here stays in the back, or else her neck will look like it's been broken, and that's never a good thing. So now that I have the head off, let's immediately show the alternate face. Bit more smiling, a wider smile now instead of a small smile. And this is one of the first problems you will notice with the kid. She's either looking to the left or to the right. She's never going to look straight at you. So that's for the head. Now for the arms, we'll go up about that far, maybe a bit more if you really force it. Turns around all the way. Goes up the elbow by that far, and will also turn around. Then the hands, and they go up, down, and then you can turn around so that you can have them go up and down in different ways. And there's also some movement in the chest that goes really far to the back, so you can have a stretching. To the front, not so much. Now for her legs, and this is where articulation gets a bit weird. As you might or might not have noticed, she appears to be wearing panties. Great. So her legs go up, that about 90 degrees, but now problems start. When you pull the leg backwards, her panties go down to reveal some horror in her mechanism. And they go back about that far. So this is mildly disturbing. Legs go out about that far. And also, another complaint about the panties, sometimes they will go down, and when they go back up, they will go underneath the body, so then you have to fiddle with it to get them back on top. Now, the knees up like that, nice movement. And then the feet are on the same kind of joint as the hands, so it will go forwards until they start popping off, and will go backwards until they start popping off. But then to have them move side to side, you kind of have to fight with the joint, and it doesn't really like to move, but you can kind of force it a little bit so that the foot will go side to side for more dynamic posings. And then you have to fight with it once again to get it back into place. So that's all for girl mode. A little bit of a disappointment also, because you have these very obvious gaps where the where the armor parts are supposed to go. And that is quite a disappointment. Now you might think that, well, it should be obvious that there were going to be holes in there, but to have them like blatantly up in the front is kind of a disappointment. If you look at the Buzoshinki line, for example, Zelmagrad here, you can see that in the front there are no holes, and they conveniently place all of them in the back. And if you're going to have her in girl mode, you're of course going to look at her from the front. So they might have just put him in the back to have it a bit more clean. Oh yeah, for this gap here in the front, there is a small cover thing which I cannot find at the moment. So this hole will be covered up. So let's get to the main meat of this figure. I'm transforming her into the Gundam. So you also get an alternate back piece to accommodate her, well, ears, I suppose. This back there, and simply slide it on. And for the legs, they're a bit more fiddly. To first pull up the feet, then slide this in there, and then you have to start lining up things. Now I grab this, slide in here, and then you kind of have to be lucky that it's in there far enough, because you have to line up this thing with 2 pegs. This here also has to go in there. There we go. And then you simply put this in the gap. So, well, that does look a lot better. And then you simply slide on the feet. And there you go. Now in terms of articulation, it's pretty much the same. Goes now a bit less, but still very nice. The arms are actually easier. It's very simply just slide this on. And there you go. Now the problem, well, small problem you might say, is that it will kind of, well, when you try to pose it, it might rotate a bit, but it's in there very securely. Now for her chest, I'm going to put the arms up a little bit. Then, well no, I'm going to go with a skirt first. Skirt here, peg here, hole in the back. Simply put it in there, and then you wrap it around. Close it like this, and now let's go for the chest. As you can see, there isn't an actual way to attach it. What you're supposed to do is you grab the wings and then you pretty much put it into place. Or you use this piece here if you don't want the wings. And there, kind of like wrap it around. Put this in here. And then try to align the shoulders. And there you go. Now, wings, very simple, just align these things and pop them in there. Oops. And here you have her all suited up in her mech armor. Now, the first thing you want to do is grab the stand, accessory number 1. Because if you take a look at these feet, I mean, there's no possible way she's going to be able to stand up. Unless you like fill around about an hour and have her fall over with even the smallest breeze. So, let's go over her original gimmicks first. Something I didn't immediately notice because, well, I should have known. Once the Japanese start using other languages, there's always the dangar of misspellings. So, gimmick number 1, and the most impressive in my opinion, is the wings have some really nice separation going on. And when you're posing her in some really nice positions, those add some really nice style points. And that's probably one of the best features of the entire figure. I don't even think the Master Grade was able to pull this off. And now that we're talking about the wings, also have some nice articulation. They go up and down here on the hinge. Then there's some flapping going on here. Then on the joint here, they go up and down. So you can, like that. So you can get some really nice movement out of the wings. I mean, these wings are really, really impressive. And since it is the Wing Gundam Girl, that is of course very nice. Now the other gimmick is with the legs. These flaps here go out. Now that might not look like anything impressive, but when you're trying to pose her in like a very dynamic pose, it really adds to the entire pose. It really looks nice. Now, another kind of, well, gimmick according to the box is these flaps move. Kinda. So they help with the articulation a little bit. Though when you want to have her leg go out, you'll just have to move it out of the way, so that it doesn't hinder the maneuverability. Well, talking about maneuverability, the legs are kinda hindered. So they go about that far now. And the hand just fell off. That's a little bit of a problem when you're trying to pose her. Her hands will sometimes pop out because, like I said before, her wrist guards are just slid on her and they're loose in there. So, a little bit of a problem, but there you have it. Also, another loose part is the front of her head. Really likes to come off. But let's get onto the accessories now. And let's immediately start with the most important accessory for any Wing Gundam, the Buster Rifle. And oops, they were really smart when designing this, because of course this is a very long rifle, and that always has the problem of sagging. Now what they did is they put a peg here and a hole in the arm. And there are also several other holes, such as here on her legs, and there goes that hand again, on her legs, and I thought there was one on her back as well somewhere. Looks like this came off. Ah, great. I think they're starting to fall apart. Come on. So, like I said, the wrist guards do like to pop off when posing it. There we go. Now back to the Buster Rifle. So you just slide it in a hand, and then you peg it into the arm. So that rifle sits in there really securely. Then in order to move the arm up, you have to move the shoulder guard a bit out of the way. So these shoulder guards don't really hinder her maneuverability, but you do have to move them out of the way. And like I said, Buster Rifle sits in there really securely. And I have to say, it even sits in there securely without the peg, so that's some really nice construction there. That was probably one of my biggest fear with this kit, because I've had some bad experiences with Buzo Shinki figurines where they were totally incapable of holding the most impressive and biggest weapons. Now, other accessory, the shield, and it can also hold the beam saber. Talking about the beam saber, it of course comes with a very nice beam blade. Also some really nice detail on the end of it. And just like the Buster Rifle, it comes with a little peg here so that it will fit in either of the arms. And you put it in kind of like the original Cobb, the Master Grade. You peg it in there and then you wrap it around the arm. Also, these little flap things here do move up and down as well. And then just slide it on there, like that. And of course you also get various amount of hands. You of course get 2 trigger finger hands, 2 holding hands, oops, for the beam saber. This fit in there really nicely. And you get a pair of open hands, and to wrap it all up, you get a pair of closed fists. And a final accessory is this little thing. I think I've already noticed this, but like I said, if you don't want the wings on, just pop them off, put this in, and then you can attach it to the action base. So, as always, the inevitable question is, do you want to buy this? And as always, the problem is the price. You have to pay around 4,800 yen retail price to get this, and when you take into account that she's about the same size as a Figma, in Go-Mode she's the exact same size as a Figma, then you might want to think twice about buying her. Her articulation and all is very nice, accessories are nice. The only problem, well, the only small thing I can say about accessories is that she misses those those holder things that go in the arms with the extra barrels for her Buster Rifle. The ones that do come with the Master Grade, but probably wouldn't look all that great on an elegant figure, so I can forgive it for that. So accessories are very nice. Problem is, the quality of the figure itself isn't always that great. You probably can't see it all that well, but the color of his skin or chest here is a different shade than that of her face. It's not very different. It's not all that obvious because, of course, now you can't really make it out, but especially when she's in girl mode, it is very visible. And also, once again, you can't really see it now thanks to her armor, but well, the separation between her legs and her stockings, that's some very, yeah, poor engineering. It looks kind of like she has some fat rolling over. Yeah, not all that great, but once again, once you put her in Mobile Suit Girl mode, it doesn't, well, it's not all that obvious, so as long as you keep her in Mobile Suit Girl mode, well, only the qualities of this figure really shine, and they do overshadow the problems with it, but they are still there. So yeah, if you're a fan of the Mobile Suit Girls and you haven't been, well, you don't really have the skill to put together one of those expensive resin kits, or don't have the time, then this would be a very nice figure for you, and you'd probably be willing to spend the money because you do get a very, very nice figure, and it looks very nice on your shelf. But if you're only meh about Mobile Suit Girls, well, then this figure probably isn't really going to be for you because of the high price tag. And also, this is an action figure, but don't expect to like get any real play value of this. I mean, the hands are falling out constantly when you're even posing it. Front of the head falls out a lot when you're trying to pose it, so she is easy to pose though, with the exception of the hands and the head. So that's really it, and let's do some final size comparisons. Here with a 1/144 scale kit, as you can see, she is slightly bigger than it. And here is the Jim Kai. This one is a lot bigger, and once again, keep the price in mind. This is 4,800 yen, and I think this is like 2,400 or something. So yeah, you can buy 2 of these for one of hers. Yeah. And as a final size comparison, here is Kurante from the Buzashinki line. And that's all for this review, and see you at the next one.